Welcome inside the huddle with Coach Tigh Compton, Gary Justice with the Justice Broadcasting Network. And Coach, another week, but it's also always good to catch up after a couple Bears wins as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a good stretch for us. It was a really good week last week on the road, and ready for another big week this week.
So, Coach, the this past week, I remember seeing your social media post about how many miles you guys have already traveled this year. But the road travel on the road is a little bit better after a couple wins, right?
Yeah,
Coach?
definitely. We knew, and there's a lot of teams out there that have played a lot of road games and have been out and about neutral site games, that kind of thing. We've just not had the liberty to mix in very many home games with that, and we knew that was going to be challenging when we made the schedule, but we thought that we had the group to be able to weather some of that, and so far so good. They've rallied and put us in a good position, but yeah, it's just when you're mixing in classes and you're mixing in just the wear and tear that travel. We're not, we don't fly places. We drive places, and a lot of the teams that we played, the Florida Memorials, they spent a lot of time away from home, but they flew from Florida to wherever they were going and kind of stayed a little while. When you're hitting those down and backs on vans and buses, it's a little bit different. So just trying to work in that with trying to keep our guys fresh has been a unique challenge, but something that we feel like we've done okay at.
And then also, Coach, you talk about being on the vans, and you also got mixing class sometime too, right? And that's a challenge you guys play going to Knoxville on Wednesday night and play a tough road game. So you leave out on Tuesday and play on Wednesday, get back late Wednesday night, and those guys are up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed for 8 o'clock classes on Thursday.
Yeah, I think when I laid down on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I think when I finally got home, laid down, it was a little after 3 a.m. And that we pulled in here about 1:30 a.m. And by the time you get the vans back and you unload everything and inventory everything, do what you need to do. The guys had a late night, and then we had to prepare immediately that next day. So they had to be at their classes. You got to prepare again, and then we're on the road again to go to Montreat Friday afternoon. So it's a quick turnaround, but I forget sometimes. I gauge maybe how they're feeling based off how I'm feeling, and I know that they're a little younger than I am at this point, so they probably bounce back a little easier than me.
You may have them by just a year or two, Coach.
Yeah, they it's a little tougher on me these days than it is them for sure.
Well, Coach, let's start the ball game on Wednesday. That was a big one on the road down in Knoxville, Johnson, by a couple of different coaches' polls and media polls. Finished to be picked second or third in the conference. It's been challenging. The first 4 conference games for you guys this year, you've already played 2 of the teams that were picked right below you guys in the preseason rankings. And coming with a big win on Wednesday night down in Johnson, 84-75, you guys got off to a hot start as well, Coach.
Yeah, our guys, we talked all week about, proving what we think we are. And, really what we think doesn't matter. We have to go out and prove it. And, there were 3 votes for those guys for first place in the preseason poll. And we knew that some people thought that that's where they deserved to be, and we felt like we were where we deserved to be. So we wanted to make sure that the court told in, and on that night it did for us, and we came out in our favor. But Johnson's a really quality team. They've had a really, really tough start to the schedule with Dalton State and Ave Maria and University of the Cumberlands, and then us. It was a really, really tough 4-game stretch for them, and then they bounced back and have a huge win over Columbia College on Saturday. So we knew, looking at their record, they were 0-3 heading in, but not just all 0-3s aren't the same 0-3s. Theirs was very different, and playing at home, we knew on a weekday would be a very wild crowd. There'd be a lot of people there, and again, they were just hungry to kind of find that first win and try to prove something themselves. So the way our guys showed up and rallied and responded, I couldn't be more proud of them.
And Coach, on Wednesday, definitely 2 heavyweights going back and forth. You guys come out, punch them in the mouth, come out of a big lead, and Johnson's able to respond, come back. But then you guys punched back as well. What was the mindset of the team that night, Coach?
Yeah, there's very few really good fights that just involve one punch, right? We're going to have to. You're not only going to have to land a few. You're going to have to be able to take a few as well, and that certainly played out that night. And Coach Sharp and Coach Jones down there, they do a really good job and are always really prepared and have a lot of really good talent on their roster. So we knew, 18-2. We thought we thought a good start was very important for us. We had been struggling a little bit offensively, and we wanted to be able to get out and go and try to find the bucket early. But we knew that the truth was going to lie somewhere much closer to what it did for most of the game versus us, being up by 16 that early. We knew they'd find their offense and they'd get going. They're too talented not to.
Well, and then the response was amazing because the challenges of college basketball is you play a team in Columbia International on Saturday that is guard oriented, and then you come back and you play a team in Johnson on Wednesday, who is everything goes through Mason Lockhart on the post. How challenging is that to prepare for two totally different pounded ball clubs, but two different type styles, Coach?
Yeah, and only having a few days to do so, whereas, Johnson had over a week to kind of sit there between the Cumberland's game and our game and prepare specifically for us. So it is challenging. It's something that we were a little unsure of going into the season with the style of play that we've adopted. How would our guys respond to that, and how much would we have to change about our preparation and what we're doing to match the different styles? But up to this point, I think we've played a lot of different teams. We played a lot of teams that like to put it in the basket different ways, that rely on different positions and do different things. And so far, our guys have adapted really, really well. And you can see their confidence growing each and every game.
And Coach, there's a couple of guys. You had those guys. You had the key contributors every single night. Keaton Warwick, Brad Bunch contributed in a different way besides just on the point column. But then I thought Zion Blevins played well against Mason Lockhart, and also Riley Salmons. Just to name a couple of guys.
Sure, absolutely. And those four seniors, we know that they're going to come out and give their best every single night. And talked about Bradley. Bradley is having a really good statistical season so far. It's not on par with what we've seen Bradley be able to do, but his gravity is doing a lot of work for us as well. That's opened up a lot of opportunity for some of his teammates. And Bradley's a very unselfish player. He knows when he needs to go get one for us, and we know we can rely on him when we need a basket. But he lets the game come to him. So as teams throw more in his direction and give him a little more attention, he's always going to make the right play. And his teammates have been prepared to step up. And Riley was a perfect example of a guy that has been right there on the verge and kind of knocking on the door and has had some really good days, but had needed to stack a few more together for his confidence and our confidence. And he goes out there to prepare for that moment and does a really good job. And Keaton Warwick is another guy. He's just a steady hand for us that we can always rely on to settle us down, to control the basketball, and just get us going back on the right track when we veer off a little bit.
And then you also, you talk about Keenan Cutlip as well, Coach. One of those four seniors who just steady. He's always going to be either in double figures or close to double figures. He's always going to have 4 or 5 rebounds, a couple of assists. Just a good basketball player.
Yeah,
Coach.
Keenan and LA both are so good for us just because they're so interchangeable and versatile in their positions. They can play a lot of different places for us offensively. They're able to do a lot of different things and manipulate our defense and from different spots. And both are very high IQ guys and are willing to do whatever they have to do to win. They find some success, and once they see what's working for them, it's not that hard to convince those guys to continue going back to the well. They always have our team's best interest in mind.
Yeah, Coach. You talk about that, just earning more minutes, and you got people who Zion Blevins who wants to stay on the floor. Right? I thought he showed up defensively on Wednesday night. Ball started going through the bucket a little bit easier for him too. Riley Salmon's good to see, this redshirt sophomore. You talk about earning more minutes. And Riley just gives you just a different type of threat. And I thought the counterpunch from you guys, I thought Riley was a big part of that counterpunch for you as well, too, Coach.
Sure, and he's a guy, too. When he sees the ball go through the basket, he's a different level player. He's a really, really skilled offensive player, gives us great length, is another really high IQ player. And you talked about Zion. Like Z is, Z had a ton of opportunity at the beginning of the year that we just weren't capitalizing on. Got a lot of looks right around the basket, was doing a great job on the offensive glass for us. And, we really just had to wait and let him calm down, let him settle down a little bit. And he's executing a lot of those opportunities at this point, and you're starting to see the result change a little bit too.
And, Coach, so definitely you take that, the road win on Wednesday. You guys come back home, as you talked about, got home early Thursday morning, quick scout on Friday. You actually rest up a little bit on Thursday, try to get a scout in, travel back on Friday, go back down to Monterey and play another different style in the Monterey Cavaliers, Coach, who come and had the offensive player of the week, a guard for them, and Bears got victorious 81-61.
Yeah, played really, really well in that game. Defensively, very proud of our guys for the effort and the amount of intentionality to our preparation and our scout that they brought to the table. And R.J. Manganiello is one of the best guards, if not the best guard in the league, and certainly shifty and one of the best scoring guards in the league, absolutely. And we knew he was going to be in for a challenge. There's some unique things that come along with the Montreat trip this year. You're not we weren't allowed any visiting fans, and we were kind of under the impression there weren't going to be any fans, and you show up and there are lots of fans. It's just none of them are for you. They're all for Montreat. They're either parents or students or whatever that looks like. And, there's just some facility challenges there right now as they recover from the flooding and that came from the hurricane that, leaves you sharing locker rooms. Our women shared with the men's team for them, and we had to share with the women's team for them. And, just the timing piece of when you're allowed to go in, when you have to be out by, when you can go back in once they're done with their game, and just some things that can take you out of rhythm a little bit and can kind of break your routine, what you're used to in those kind of moments. That some teams really rely on those rhythms to kind of stay in check on game day, and a lot of different challenges, and on top of that, a very capable and a very talented Montreat team that our guys really came out and dominated them from start to finish.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that I thought that you guys were in control of the entire contest into a 20-point win, and that's a pretty good ball club, as you talked about. I think they may already have a road win over Columbia International, I believe.
They did. They've beaten Columbia at Columbia International, and then they played Georgia Gwinnett there. That's a receiving votes team, probably a team that's going to be in the top 25 this week. Played them to a 3-point game there, made 23s against them there at home, and that's a team that has played competitively with a lot of really good teams this year and already won some big games. So not just winning that game on the road, but how we won that game was a big statement for us.
Coach, from going back a few games when you guys played your first conference games against Bluefield here, I remember there was a point, we haven't talked about this yet, but it was about 6 minutes ago in the first half against Bluefield. It was 33-20 Bluefield. And you talked about just being able to score the basketball. Ever since about 6-minute mark of the Bluefield game in the first half, some of the basketball is starting to go through the basket a little bit easier. What's changed, Coach?
I think not much from a schematical standpoint. I think we know what we need to do, and I think our plan has been really good, and I think it fits our guys, and our guys are comfortable with it. For whatever reason, I think we just got off to a weird start this year where we had a lot of guys trying to do too much. Not from necessarily a selfish place, but just trying to find rhythm and trying to find a lane and just trying to maybe hoping it was a little bit easier than what it was going to be, and having to get back in the groove and understand, like we've got a target on our back. We're going to have to work for this every single time, and we're gonna have to the turnovers were a big deal and just kind of overdrives. And, I thought we were getting good looks and shooting okay shots. We just weren't really seeing a big basket at that point in time. And we just kept emphasizing, that if we continue to do the right things, play the right way, share the ball, and give the ball some energy, that we thought the good things would happen and we'd break through at some point in time. And, we've kind of challenged, our assistant coaches who are on the show today, Coach Boswell and Coach Cox. We went back and we've done some more skill work, and we've done some more intentional breakdown kind of things that work on advantage, disadvantage scoring, and some of the decision making that comes along with that. And I think just getting those guys live reps there where maybe we should have done that a little bit earlier, and maybe we could have broke that rhythm earlier. Has really helped them here in the long run.
But I think it's showing that what you do is you have to pay attention to what your team is responding to, and every team's going to respond differently. And also just the confidence the team's playing with offensively and defensively as well. If you have not had an opportunity to watch the Bears play, definitely fun to watch on the defensive end. And, Coach, you can see the confidence growing right now. And the players are trusting coming have a big part of your roster coming back from last year. There's some changes this year, but do you see the confidence growing as well, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's coming from their preparation. They feel a lot better about the way they're preparing. They're seeing some positive result from their preparation in our gameplay, and I feel like they once you start seeing some of the things that you feel like you deserve is a word I don't like to use, but you put in the work, you expect results, and I think some of the guys are seeing some of those results now, and it's easier to have buy-in, it's easier to have believe in, it's easier to have confidence and gain confidence when you're seeing the fruits of the labor, so to speak. So, for us, it's always just been about repetition and work and putting your head down and just trusting the plan and just continuing to do the things that we've identified and really feel confidently are the things that we need to do to become better as a team and become better individually, and just trusting that and knowing that every team's journey is different. The timing of everything is different from year to year, from person to person, and just having to really believe in the journey and believe in the work and really just believe that that's gonna show at some point. And so far here the last 3-4 games we've seen some of that, and it's sure to get rocky again. Hopefully not too rocky, and hopefully not in a way that we can't figure a way around it. But there's a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys throughout a season, and right now we're enjoying one of the peaks.
Well, definitely, it's one of those things as coaches you got to, and I've learned this from you, and in fact, you got to pay attention. It's gathering data all throughout the year. You talk about the peaks and valleys. It's kind of like how can you get the valleys to be a little higher than not so low. So definitely, if the ball club's been fun to watch so far this year, Coach, and looking forward to how they continue to progress. Also, Coach, jumping into this week, Thanksgiving week, and a kind of an odd week. You have a conference opponent against Union Commonwealth on Tuesday, but doesn't count towards the standings due to St. Andrews dropping out of the conference, actually closing the doors. So now you have kind of an odd fit there. But then you have the Thanksgiving holiday, and then you travel back down to one of the premier events down in Kingsport called the NAI, the show. Talk about the challenges of this week and how are you going to get the team prepared, Coach?
Yeah, the strangeness of this week with the Union game, when St. Andrews dropped out of the league and closed their doors, it happened so late that our league schedule was already made and sent out. So that left 5 teams in our league playing an extra game in comparison to the other teams in our league. So we had to try to find a way for those 5 teams to drop a game conference-wise so that we could all be on a level playing field with the same amount of games so that we could have a regular season champion and award an auto bid and those kinds of things. And through a randomizer of some sort, this game, us and Union were both 2 of the teams that were in that mix, along with Johnson, Bryan, and Reinhardt, I believe, is the 5th. And this was the kind of the luck of the draw, so to speak, would be this game. So this is actually a non-conference game for us and for Union. Just already scheduled through our conference schedule, that kind of thing. So a little bit different. Won't change the way that we prepare for it. We know that we're going to see those guys again, and the way that we play in this one will definitely have a impact on the way that we prepare for them next time. But it's unique, and obviously you got some guys that won't get to go home for the holiday, and some that will. But it's hard keeping your guys grounded and keeping them here and present, and not one foot out the door, knowing that they're going to have a day or so off. We'll be off after the game tomorrow night, and they'll have all day Wednesday off. Then we'll come back the night of Thanksgiving for practice again. We'll have a big team Thanksgiving meal here, and we'll practice early Friday and head out to Kingsport, as you talked about, to play IU East and Life, who IU East has been really, really good at times this year and has played some really competitive games. And then Life, is probably, when the new poll comes out tomorrow or on Wednesday, Life is probably going to be a top 5 team in the country. So it's going to be a big week for us. It's going to be our 8th, 9th, and 10th games of the month. So you're over a third of the way done before November even ends. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's been a challenge so far, and we'll attack it with everything that we've got and just give it our best.
And Coach, you talk about those 8th, 9th, and 10th game before the end of the month. It's in only 3 home games.
Yeah.
So we get tomorrow.
Yeah,
the third.
Tomorrow will be the third one.
The third home game. Coach, closing question for you. I'm going to have on your assistant coaches come on the show. What do the Bears need to continue doing, and what do you need to improve in order to be successful the rest of the year, Coach?
Yeah, we talk a lot about just being the best at being us, and I think that we know what makes us good. We know what's brought us success. We know individually what our strengths are, and we just got to try every day to continue being the best at being us, and not let any kind of outside noise or any kind of slump or frustration cause us to look to be something different than what we know is what we should be and what our best looks like. And I think our confidence continuing to grow through that. I think our confidence in ourselves and our abilities offensively continuing to grow through that. and just continuing to embrace the journey. I think if we just kind of take it one game at a time, one day at a time, and just work on trying to be a little bit better each and every time we go out there as a group. I think at the end of the day, a little becomes a lot, and if we can just keep that mentality versus, as Nick Saban would call it, the rat poison of the expectations and the rankings and all the different things. If we can eliminate the rat poison and just focus on the journey as they have been, I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, Coach, definitely. I have confidence in our team. The roster you put together is very impressive, and with you leading the ship, I know the ship is going to be nice and smooth the whole way. At least you make it look easy.
It's been rocky so far. We'll try to smooth it out a little bit from here on.
Well, Coach, of course, we're going to have your two assistants, Coach Boswell, Coach Cox. A few words about those two guys, Coach.
Yeah, those guys. This has been a unique year for us. Obviously, losing Coach Christ late in the summer and kind of shuffling responsibilities back. Very thankful for those two guys. Looking over at them now, being very thankful for just their willingness to just dive in with both feet and do what's required. And they're here daylight to dark. They're here regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of how many. I think Sunday was actually our first day off since October the 22nd. I think it was, as a staff. We've had JV stuff going on Sundays when we give our guys off. And yesterday was the first day off in almost a month for all of us, and it can create some burnout. It can be really tough and difficult on these guys, and they've stuck right there. They're as committed to our guys as they've ever been, and do a ton for our preparation, do a ton for our guys, our player well-being, and couldn't ask for more commitment, couldn't ask for a better group of guys.
And Coach, I want to brag on those guys. You're talking about the JV Sundays, and I would. First of all, I think it's phenomenal you run that type of program because you give young men an opportunity to want to play at that next level, still develop their skills a little bit, learn more about the sport of basketball, earn some scholarship money on Sundays, and you have a couple of teams usually come in. Keep in mind, you've only played one home game on a Saturday. You play all these games on Sunday, so usually these guys are coming back. Again, you're getting back late on a Saturday night, and these guys are back in the gym on a Sunday. On the JV program, you're talking about somebody who's all in. Those two guys are all in.
No
Coach.
question. And you hear a lot of crazy schedules out there. 10 on, 10 off, 14 on, 14 off. We've been 30 plus on. There's been no off. We've been 30 plus on and one off yesterday on Sunday. So there's no end in sight. We're going to keep rocking and keep rolling until the end of the year. But just the commitment that's required here to try to provide the student experience that we try to bring to everyone that's involved in our program is it's difficult at times, but it's certainly worth it. And finding people that can find the worth and see the why behind why we do it, that kind of energizes you and keeps it in. These guys definitely know the why.
Well, Coach, you've always done a great job of the staff you put together surrounding you. You always have the right people around you, and it's always about the team as well. And I lied to you. I told you it's going to be a closing question. I want to pull something on the screen. You always post pictures of roads, and this is pictures you'll see here at Monteith, and then also you'll see at Johnson. Talk a little bit about the importance of just posting those road win pictures, Coach.
Yeah, I think when you're at home, it's a little easier to be grounded. I think, you've got a lot of family and a lot of friends here in attendance, and all of them are waiting on you outside, and it's easy to go from whatever good, whatever bad happens in the game. It's easy to come in here and leave and kind of be greeted by those familiar faces. And on the road, it's not so easy. And I know, I think it's important for us to we always have some sort of tag with it about celebration. And, winning's hard. Winning's really hard. And winning on the road is even harder. And winning conference games on the road is the hardest. And, it's easy to become consumed with improvement and can become consumed with the journey of just trying to be our best. And that's personally speaking, those pictures are a little bit of a reminder for me to just take a deep breath and enjoy it and celebrate what we just did and what we were able to accomplish. And there'll be another day to worry about the improvements and the other things that we need to do. But it's just a reminder for me when maybe you don't walk out and see your wife and see your child or see a ton of in Monteith there were no right. Visiting fans, so you don't see any familiar faces to kind of direct your thoughts and kind of calm you down a little bit. But It's just our way of remembering that's a big time accomplishment that we just did, and we've got to make sure that we take time to cherish that and understand how important that is in the moment.
Well, I absolutely love it that you do it, because when you're on the road, I mean, you guys are the one who brings the people into the stands. I mean, you're the preseason pick to win the league and won the league last year. When I know Coach Cal and those guys at UK all say when UK comes, you get the best punch, right? And you guys are always getting the best punch because people always want to punch up. Well, they got to punch up to you guys. So I love it when you guys do. You post the pictures on the road wins, and always it's good to see them, Coach.
Yeah, and I hope that people that I hope coaches and different people see that they don't. I know in the past, maybe that rubs me the wrong way when I see people do that kind of thing after beating us here or whatever, and I hope they don't take it that way. It really isn't anything to do with anybody else other than just trying to just have a little bit of a reminder for some gratitude and just to live in the moment just a little bit.
Well, winning on the road is tough. Winning, period, is hard. But then also, he's talking about just the challenges of hopping on, vans or a charter bus and being away from your own bed, and some other challenges. It's just it's fun to see. So I'm glad you do that as well too. So we're going to bring on the assistant coaches here, and I'm interested to learn these guys a little bit more. But Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck, and also a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
And so stay tuned. You're inside the huddle with Coach Tigh Compton. Welcome back inside the huddle with Coach Tigh Compton. Now we have the assistant coach, Coach Preston. Coach, welcome to the program.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, this is year 2, year 3 of the program. What
Year 2.
Year 2, yeah. So if everybody at home, tell everybody about some of your responsibilities here with the program.
Yeah, so get to do a lot here with this program. Mainly player development. I would say a lot of the coaches I've worked for, I'd say Coach Compton, the first thing he would say about me is the role I have in our player development with our guys. So whether it be getting in the gym and rebounding for them or working on certain skills, get to do a lot of that with those guys, and that's probably what I love doing the most, whether it's just helping our guys reach their goals and helping them get better.
Hey, Coach, I can definitely tell that, because usually, like, when we call timeout and stuff, players are usually sometimes coming to you, whether it be on an action or a play, whatever it may be. A lot of times those guys are coming to you, maybe looking for some, hey, did I do it correctly, or if I need to change something. So you can definitely see that they can have trust in you, Coach.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of that trust comes from just kind of like sweat equity, getting in the gym, earning their trust by guarding them or rebounding for them or just spending a lot of time with them. I think that's where that trust comes from.
So, Coach, you were a talented collegiate player yourself. I know he's in West Virginia, but I'm not sure what school.
So I played high school basketball at Magnolia.
Okay.
And then I played Division II at Wheeling Jesuit, West Liberty, and Cal PA.
So you did very, very talented as far as high school and college. What made you want to get into coaching?
So the plan was always to play professionally, and my first 3 years of college, that's what I was planning on doing, and I think I had enough success to do that. But as I got older, my body just started to break down, and I had talked with my coach then, Coach Sancombe, about wanting to get into coaching, and after I finished playing, he helped me get into it, and I volunteered, coached at Cal PA, and then got my foot in the door at Davis and Elkins, and then lucky enough to end up being here.
Well, we're definitely really glad you're a part of this program, and you've already had an impact. Year 2, you've already had the impact. A lot of those guys, you can see their development. It continues to get better. A lot of that. You talk about the sweat equity with you being in the gym, and What's it like been? What's it been like for you to be a part of Bear Nation 2 years?
It's been awesome. Like just being around our guys, like that's what makes it so special here. Like guys like Kean Warwicks and Bradley Bunch and Keenan Cutlip, like that's what makes it so special. Not necessarily the winning and all that, but like the type of people we have in this program is what makes it so special, and it's been amazing. Yeah.
But the winning's all right as well, right?
Yeah.
So well, Coach, definitely appreciate your time. I know you guys got a little practice, got a scout, got some ball games to get into as well, and got Coach Cox will come on with us as well. And Coach, definitely want to say Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and also appreciate what you do for the University of Pike as well too.
Yep, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
As assistant coach, Coach Preston Boswell, you're watching Inside the Huddle with Coach Tigh Compton. Welcome back Inside the Huddle with Coach Tigh Compton, now Assistant Coach Charlie. Coach, thanks for coming on the program.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
So, Coach, I know you you play a lot of different roles here at the University of Pikeville and the men's basketball program. But one of those programs that I know you feel a lot of sweat equity, as Coach Boswell talked about it, is the JV program. Talk about how about the season going so far.
Yeah, pretty good. We got a great group of guys. We end up with about 6 or 7 every time we play. So they're going long stints without any breaks, but just great guys who kind of put their trust in us and show up and play. And you can't ever accuse them not playing hard. They give everything they got every time they go out there. And
you talk about Coach regarding the 6 or 7 guys, and it's usually double headers on Saturday, on Sundays, right?
Yeah, we bring 2 teams here. We play the first when the other teams play, and then we play the other team third. So they're going, playing 35 minutes a game, and then they're playing 2 games every time they play. So
Coach, remind me, year 2, year 3 of the program?
Year 3.
Year 3,
I was a GA for 2 years, and back here as an assistant this year.
So what brought you to the University of Pikeville, Charlie?
Well, I guess I just annoyed all the right people until somebody hired me. Didn't really know how to get into it, so I just kind of coached a few camps, kind of made some connections, and just did good enough, I guess, before I got here to get Coach to hire me.
Take advantage of opportunities, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
You talk about working camps, and that's what you got to do is network, and you do such a good job there. And we're happy that you're part of the program as well, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I know you got some responsibilities for practice. You got a scout to put together, and Coach, you and Coach Boswell, we want to just take a couple of minutes and get you on and introduce you to Bear Nation as well, too. So, and Coach Cox, we want to say Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well, too.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
So, the assistant coach, Charlie Cox, will come back with some closing comments from Coach Tigh Compton. You're watching Inside the Huddle with Tigh Compton on the Justice Broadcasting Network. Perfect. Welcome back inside the huddle for a closing segment with Coach Tigh Compton. And Coach, definitely, you've hit on, you got two great assistant coaches. It's always good to introduce them to Bear Nation a little bit more.
Yeah, and we'll have those guys back. You know, we're filming this here during the day, and we've got practice coming up at 4, and those guys gotta get over to the gym and make sure the guys get ready and get moving. So we'll have those guys back on for a little more extended period of time here in the future. But good to see, good to give them the recognition that they deserve, and everything, for years and years and years, the entire time I've been here, a lot of the good that happens here is because of all the unbelievably committed, hardworking people that are kind of quote unquote behind the scenes, and there's certainly, I can assure you, there's nothing that our program goes through or does that those two guys aren't involved with heavily.
Well, Coach, we're definitely very blessed to have those guys part of the program, and excited to see them grow as coaches as well. I know Coach Cox is getting a little bit more experience on the JV side of things, and Coach Boswell, you can tell he's really got the trust of the team. Something that was taught to Coach during his portion of the interview was when the players come to the timeout, you can tell they're looking for Coach Boswell a little bit, just trying to get some reassurance what they need. So it's good to see those,
Sure,
see those young men develop. So, Coach, I know you want to hop back in. He said we just got some exciting news that we want to share with Bear Nation as well, Coach.
Yeah, Zion Blevins was just named the Defensive Player of the Week in the conference. So that's a huge news for us. That's our first Conference Player of the Week award, and his first career Conference Player of the Week award.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman out of Chapmanville, West Virginia, Chapmanville Regional High School, and Zion, his Big Z, his game has developed, Coach. We touched a little bit earlier in the show just about he's had a lot of opportunities early, but now the ball's starting to fall in the bottom of the bucket, and his confidence continue to grow more and more.
Sure, and last year through his redshirt year, we thought that he got to a place, the last 7 or 8 games that he could have really helped us. We thought he was our most physical post defender all year, and just thought that there would be some moments that he could help us, and we decided to hold that redshirt strong and not go there, and now he's been able to use some of that experience this year to get off to a quick start, and he was getting a lot of great opportunity there at the beginning of the year, and just couldn't find the basket, and I think he averaged over 17 points this week per game, and 7 or 8 rebounds per game, and 4 blocks a game in the 2 conference games that we had, and I think he's second in the league in blocks per game right now. So you can see some of that defensive prowess coming out in him, and like you said, just he's 7 games deep essentially. We got a handful of game action last year and some less than meaningful minutes, but he's 7 games into his college career, and you can see him continuing to grow with each and every opportunity.
And on Wednesday, Coach, you talk about 4 blocks a game. You did it against Mason Lockhart, one of the best post players in the entire league. That's saying something, Coach.
Yeah, and it got Lockhart's attention. There I think you may have had some words after the game for Z, but he doesn't back down from anybody. He loves a challenge. He works tirelessly with Coach Boswell in the gym, and is a guy that has really embraced the weight room really since he graduated high school. The whole summer, he was back home in Chapmanville before he came. Really embraced the weight room there, and has really done a lot on his own aside from our team responsibilities this week or here at UPIKE, and that strength gain matched with his just natural ability to play very physical has really done him well.
Well, definitely congratulations, Zion, for your hopefully first of many defensive player of the week. So, Coach, I know you got a busy week, and we wish you the best of luck. And as far as the ball game, safe travels. I know you guys will be on the road once again. You guys are used to the highway miles a little bit. You know what the favorite snacks are for everybody, I'm sure, at the gas stations as well, too. So, for Coach Tigh Compton and Gary Justice, appreciate you guys coming inside the huddle with Coach Tigh Compton. And from the Justice Broadcasting Network from the University of Pikeville Men's Basketball Program, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.